Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Sulky Show, the first episode of 2023. I'm joined tonight by Mr. Charles Inglis, who will actually be co-hosting the Sulky Show for the remainder of this season. Fear not, fans. Darren Owen, the usual co-host, I should say host really, because I'm like a side host. Darren Owen will be joining us throughout the season as and when his work schedule allows. But for tonight, kicking off the Sulky Show for 2023, it is Chico and me, which basically means this is a glorified Chico and Sarah show. Chico, how are you?
I'm very well. I was actually thinking about having this, like, set my laptop up in my car.
Oh, do like a road version.
Yeah, just like sat in my car and talk to you in.
That's a little bit carpool karaoke-ish, which is an idea that we've discussed and not yet explored together.
I had you singing two things and that idea went out the window.
Rude, rude, and unnecessary. We need to start on that foot, Chico. We need to be positive and nice to each other, at least for a little while, at least till things get really competitive anyway. Yeah, so you and me we've basically hijacked the Sulky show, haven't we? This is just the Chico and Sarah show with a more fancy opening titles.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And that's all it is. And so this is the disclaimer part. So obviously, a lot of you will know Chico as being a BHRC director. He's also a steward of some description. Are you? Are you a
Yeah,
steward? Yeah, you are
yeah,
a steward. I don't
yeah.
really know what you're doing. When you're walking around with that microchip scanner and like bits of paper in plastic pockets and stuff, I don't really know what you're doing. So I just go along with it. Like I don't know if anyone's ever told you to do that, if you just turn up and do it.
No, it just needs done. So you just got to do things that need done. You mean?
That's the attitude. That's the spirit, folks. Be more like
Yeah.
Chico. But yeah, whilst Chico is a BHRC director and steward, and whilst I am just a photographer, really, in the
No, not only
context of
photography.
I'm what?
You got any news to tell your fans?
Oh, have I? Are we dropping that in right now? Okay, yeah. I will be extending my remit slightly and covering most of attendance willing, most of the Hallfield race meetings this year because resident photographer Bill Cardno unavailable for the season. So between myself and hopefully a pool of others who can cover for me when I can't get there, I will be covering the Scottish meetings. The irony of me moving out of Scotland and then getting the Scottish photographer job is not lost on me, but it is a possibility because the United Kingdom is not a big country. So I will be at a lot of those meetings this year. Um, you didn't guess that when I told you that earlier, Chico. You suggested somebody else might be covering the meeting instead because you didn't want to share my exciting news with me.
Well, I knew when you text me that earlier, you wanted me to say you, and
Yes, I did
I just
want you to say me.
I don't fall into the traps easy. You mean? So
You've been
I
around too
guess
long.
I was wrong.
You were wrong. And it won't be the only time you're wrong this year, Chico. Yes, I was saying, in the context of this particular show, we are two harness racing fans having a bit of banter back and forth, and opinions stated are ours and ours alone, and not to be attributed to any organisation, committee, club, promoter, family member, acquaintance, or stranger in the street, basically. So if you don't like anything that Chico and me have said, take it up with us. Just let us know. We've been a little bit cheeky. Everything is meant in the nicest possible way. Humor is there to make everybody laugh. We will not say anything, or I certainly won't. I can't speak for Chico, but I'll not say anything that would deliberately upset anybody. But if any offence is caused accidentally, I apologise now in advance. Thank you, and disclaimer over. And which means, in that case, Chico, we can dive right into tonight's agenda,
Yeah.
which which is a new competition that Chico and me are having together. Bearing in mind, for a bit of context here, we took part in a tipster competition last year, which was Chico's
Oh,
idea.
you had to bring that up, eh?
I'm just giving a bit of context. We started a tipster competition last year. There's four of us involved. Neither of us won. Um,
I was cheated.
so You weren't cheated. You tried to cheat. There's a difference, and we really need to get this clear moving forward because we start again on Saturday for York. But in addition to our Tipster competition, which is a group of friends taking part, which we are running again this year, we have also decided, because Chico knows I'm competitive, we are going to do a 5 to follow between ourselves. Very simple format, number of wins, total number of wins at the end of the season for the 5 horses that we've picked each is the winner. Don't know what the prize is yet because we don't plan these things that well. But there are certain conditions on these 5 horses to follow that we are choosing. These conditions are that there must be 1 horse trained in Wales, 1 horse trained in England, 1 horse trained in Scotland, 1 female horse that is, and also 1 3-year-old. Now, 1 horse could satisfy 3 of those criteria. For example, if one of us had picked an English 3-year-old filly, she hits the female criteria, the English criteria, and also the female criteria. The other condition, which is what is possibly going to cause a bit of contention tonight, is that we are not allowed to pick the same horses. We haven't written these down in advance and shown each other. You are watching this, effectively live, although this is pre-recorded. We haven't discussed this. So we have our kind of first choice 5 each, and we are going to take turns to pick our teams, basically pick our stables, if you like.
Yeah.
And
I'm letting you go first.
And yes, I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't want to be the one to first mention it. But Chico did say, as a bit of a sweetener to make sure that this got off the ground, that I could pick first, which in theory means I've got the advantage. There's been a bit of discussion on the phone beforehand about, whether we're going to choose tactically or just go through our order of preference or how we're going to do this. It depends now what happens because what's happened for me is that in trying to counteract possible selections by Chico, I have only so far come up with 5 horses. And therefore, if Chico picks any of mine, you're going to have to watch me try and come up with a horse on the spot. I have no reserves, Chico.
You're not.
I've got nothing in reserve. I can't work out what's in training. I've been scrolling through the BHRC database all afternoon trying to find horses from Scotland.
I thought you were supposed to be at work.
I was also working at the time.
Multitasking.
I can multitask, exactly, because I'm female.
So how can you work, scroll through the database, look for horses, and go for a sunbed all at the same time?
I didn't go for a sunbed today.
Tomorrow you're going.
I'm not going to. No, I'm not going tomorrow. She's fully booked, so I can't go tomorrow.
Karen's busy.
Karen is busy. By the way, free advertising here. Karen's tanning salon. Salon. I'm going to go salon. Yeah. Karen's tanning salon in Appleby. Yeah, very good. Very nice service. Reasonable prices for block minute bookings. Don't know why I'm giving Karen free advertising, but I'll tell her the next time I see her. You're barred out of there anyway. I've already warned her. I said if a Scottish fella rings up, tell him he's not welcome. And Karen's on board with that.
That's thanks for letting that know.
Yep.
I've not been for one this year.
You've not been for one this year yet?
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, you are looking a little pasty there.
Yeah.
Against that white background, you're almost blending in.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I've missed this.
Are we getting going?
Anyway, we are getting going. So I get to go first.
Yeah.
I've got the fear here because I don't know what I'm going to do if you pick one of my horses. I'm going to have to sit and think. And that's not only hard work, but also dangerous. Right, okay. I'm just going to jump right in. My first choice. Are you writing these down?
Yeah. No.
Do you have a pen there?
Yes.
Right. Have you got paper there? Or just Mary Berry's cookery course?
No, I've got paper.
You've got paper, right, okay. You're more organised.
I've got mine written down.
Right, well, can you write mine down as well, like next to it as a column, and then we'll keep a track of it. So I'll save it on my phone or something. Right, okay, I'm going to go jump right in. I'm taking Even with Son of a Gun.
No. I thought you might take Even with Son of a Gun.
Oh, right. So can I just point out that Even with Son of a Gun ticks my English trained criteria? So I've got 1 ticked off.
Yes.
Okay, what are you going to do?
Now, did my Facebook likes during the week persuade your thinking?
No. Why? What were you liking on Facebook during the week?
some photos.
The non-dodgy version. Photos of what?
You took of certain horses during the year,
No,
and
I
then
haven't been getting
uh,
notification.
this is kind of wrong. This right
Right.
because if this was a thoroughbred version of the 5 to 4,
Yeah.
that's like taking Constitution Hill.
Well, hang on. You literally were the man that created the rules.
But I'm just saying, I'm not going to take the top three for hours. You know what I mean?
Well, that's your choice, though. You didn't say I couldn't take free-for-allers.
Yeah, but that's like you taking like the Constitution Hills. You mean people want to
I
know
would take Constitution Hill if I was doing a thoroughbred version of this. I'm not an idiot. I'm taking even son of a
that
gun.
shows that just shows you how competitive you are and how
Look,
much you want to win.
I'm here to win, Chico. Second's no good. I don't want to be the first loser.
The people want to know like what horses we think. You mean not
That's
not,
no five.
not the
No,
Constitution Hills of the
no,
trotting world.
no. This is not. No, this is not about the people knowing what horses we think are going to come out and win. Like try and dig up some hidden gems for the season. This is about
Yeah,
you and me battling against each other to see who can pick the best horses for the full season.
okay. I've went differently. Okay.
Oh, look at
My first pick
right. Okay,
is going to come from Wales,
okay,
and it's a filly,
yeah.
and it's for a few dollars more. Was that
Chico,
one of your
that was
picks?
one of mine.
I knew it would be, and I spoke to someone the other day, and I says, I know one that Sarah will take, and I'm taking it as my first pick.
Who did you talk to the other day?
Someone who's on our group chat.
Oh, the group chats are back. Okay, so you've taken for a few pearls more. Well, thank you, because that's my Welsh selection and also my female. Oh no, I've got another female. It's okay.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm taking Merrington moving up. Did your face just drop? Your face just dropped. You just
Nope.
realized the implications of what you've just done. You went tactical there. You thought you'd take one I was going to take, and you didn't think about taking the 2022 leading horse on wins. The statistics are there.
That's not a problem. My next pick will be a horse that was in, that's racing this weekend
Okay.
from the same stable as your two picks, and it'll be Far Out.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So you've got an English trained horse and you've got a
Yeah.
Welsh female horse.
Yes.
You just need a Scottish horse and a 3-year-old. So far, I've got 2 English trained horses.
Yeah.
Okay, my next pick is always paid. My 3-year
Again,
old.
again, the Constitution Hills of the trotting world.
You're the one that included the 3-year old category. What do you want me to do? Just take a random 3-year old? I'm going to take last year's VDM winner and BHRC 2-year old colt of the year.
Right. Okay. That's not a
Okay.
problem.
Okay. So I've so far got 3 English trained horses, but one of them is a 3-year old. So I just need to find a female and a Scottish and Welsh horse.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Game on. What's your
I'm
next
looking.
selection?
I'm looking at a 3-year-old to combat your pick,
Hmm?
and it will be a horse I liked all last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it won last year, but I think it'll be up there to give always paid the racing this year,
Okay.
and it is Born in Lockdown.
Interesting choice. Interesting choice. I can see why you picked that horse. I liked that horse last year.
Yes. See,
Big.
I'm taking horses like the hidden gems of the world. You just want to take the superstars.
I do. I'm not going to deny that. I'm holding my hands up. I've my weirdly blurry hands up. My hands up. Um,
You're very competitive.
I am very competitive because I didn't win the tipster last year, so I'm taking this seriously. I want to get bragging rights over you. Okay, my fourth choice then is going to be. I'm going to take Louisville. Scottish and female. Also hits the 3-year old category, but I'm not restricted to one 3-year old, so that's okay. But yeah, Scottish and female, Louisville.
Okay. I want to take my next pick
Mm-hmm.
as Evenwood Enforcer.
Oh. Yeah, that I can see that. I can see that selection. I can see who you've been talking to. So let me get this straight. You've ticked Welsh, you've ticked English, and you've ticked Welsh and you've ticked English,
I took the 3-year-old
and
campaign,
you've ticked
and
3-year-old, and you've ticked female. So you've got a Scottish selection now of any age
yeah,
category, any gender, and I have got to pick a Welsh horse of any age, any gender.
yes,
You went and took the one I was going to pick.
which I actually knew that
Yeah,
before this.
because you read the BHRC calendar, didn't you?
No, I didn't actually.
Did you not? Because three of my 5 selections that I was going to go with originally were printed in the BHRC calendar. The clues were there, Chico. The clues.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with my team. Like,
Right, okay. I did warn you this might happen. That I might get caught on the hop here because I didn't have backups. It's okay because I've got 4 out of my 5 selections. I'm a bit disappointed about my Welsh one not getting through here, but let me think. I want to look to the same stable. I really do. Just trying to think which one in that stable would be my best chance. Do I look elsewhere? I don't know other people's horses well enough. This is the thing. You've got all your fingers in all the pies all winter and your group chats and your insider information. I don't have this. I have like 2
I
friends.
don't, I don't have insider information.
I feel like you do. I feel like you all the pies, Chico. Fingers in all of
I'm,
them.
I'm not like Ruby Walsh with insider information into Willie Mullins.
No, but I feel like you just how's the training horses going, pal? And then people are like, oh, this one's working out really nicely. And then I don't do that. I talk to 2 people on a daily basis. Right, okay. Do you know what? You were as well picking now because whatever horse you pick is not going to be the same as what I pick because we're looking at different pools. You're looking at Scotland, I'm looking at Wales. I need to sit and think here.
Okay, well, I'm going to take as my Scottish pick, Stateside Romance.
Ah, good choice. Good choice.
Another female who'll be
Yes.
who I'm hoping will be in the like mares racing that this year.
Yeah, that horse went really nicely last year a couple of times
It,
on different
it went
tracks as well.
it went really nice at Tar Prince.
Prince, yeah.
It was fourth in the VDM,
Mm-hmm.
and the 3 horses that beat her have all went across the water.
Interesting. I see what you've done. You've put a lot more thought into this than I have. I
Scott,
picked 3
I think
Constitution Hills.
Scotland was my hardest pick, to be honest with
Scotland was my hardest pick. I just feel a little bit like I've been out of touch with who's training what, where horses have gone. I noticed there's been a couple of changes of hands during the winter where Scottish horses or horses that were trained in Scotland last year have been sold and are now racing again this year, but they're in English hands. So obviously that pool was kind of reduced. There's
you.
several Scottish owners that maybe had previously trained themselves that have now started to send horses away as well, which again, the pool gets smaller and smaller. And I
Yeah,
just don't feel like and also as well qualifiers we used to have kind of a few early qualifiers where you'd go to Corbywood and you kind of see horses working out and you kind of know what was going on, but I've just fallen out of touch a little bit with who's training what, so I did find that difficult and I maybe did go with a bit of an obvious choice, but apparently I'm going to get absolutely booted for this all summer for picking obvious choices. I stand by them. My Welsh selection is going to be Mahogany Oleg.
it's not what I thought you were ending up with choosing.
What did you think I was going to choose?
Reese Dude.
I did contemplate Reed's Dude. I'll be honest, I did contemplate Reed's Dude, but you wanted me to find a hidden gem, and that's what I've done there. I've given you what
Yeah,
you wanted. You can't complain anymore.
yeah,
Telling
that's
you,
fine.
Mahogany Oleg, that's my diamond in the rough there.
Perfect.
There we go. Have you written all these
Yeah.
down?
Yes.
Good. There we go. So those are our 5 to follow, ladies and gents. So I'll run through mine quickly. It was even with Son of a Gun, Marrington moving up, Always Paid, Louisville, and Mahogany Oleg. Don't come at me for picking obvious horses, right? I would take a stable full of Constitution Hills and run away with the prize money at the end of it if I could. And that is what I intend to do. Chico, run through your 5 from the top, please.
For a few pedals more, Far Out, Even with Enforcer, Born in Lockdown, and Stateside Romance.
There we have it, ladies and gents. 10 horses to follow for this year. My obvious selections and Chico's hidden gems. We will keep we'll keep track of this during the course of the season. I think we'll bring this up, especially on the weeks when I've done it well.
Have you got any horses racing this weekend?
No.
I have. I've got 2.
Yeah, well, you might get off to a flyer, but I tell you what, Chico, one race meeting does not a summer make.
Okay.
We've got all year.
Talking about this Saturday.
Talking of this Saturday, look at that. That was as smooth as butter on toast. I don't know if that's the phrase or not. Hugh O'Neill used to say it. I think that's the phrase. Yes, Saturday, first race meeting of the season at York Harness Raceway. There are 7 qualifiers starting at midday and optimistically 7 races due to start at 2 p.m. Coincidentally, this is the King's coronation as well. We will be racing around York Harness Raceway as King Charles takes the throne. But my very own King Charles here is going to go through the card with me. 7 races. We'll not touch on the qualifiers. Last week we had 12 qualifiers and workouts. A couple of trots in amongst those. A lot of horses about. Really good to see, actually, that number of horses out and about at that stage.
It was very good to see. It's been a long winter.
It has been a long winter. You're right. And we've not been on the sunbeds enough. Okay, so we'll just jump straight into race 1 on Saturday, which, as I said, first race at 2 p.m. Just wait for my downloads to open on my phone because I'm really organised here. Race 1, the King Charles Coronation Maiden Pace. We have got a variety of horses here. We've got some that have raced several times last season. We've got a couple that have had a few starts, and then we've got some first timers. You and me are doing this tips to competition that I made reference to, and we have selected the same horse here in race 1.
Yeah, it was impressive last week in the qualifier.
Very impressive last week in the qualifier. That is, of course, Dash for Cash. Trained and driven by Jack Burton, owned by Wilf Burton. Dash for Cash. 2-3, I think he went in the qualifier last week.
No, 5s.
2-5, it went in the qualifier last week.
I think so.
It was whatever the qualifying time was. You might be right. It probably was 2-5, not 2-3. There was a couple of qualifiers before it, maybe one qualifier before it, but it was a noticeably good time. And as the day progressed, it remained a good time for the qualifiers.
Yes. Yeah, it was a very good performance.
The horse seemed to go about his work very comfortably as well. Very workmanlike attitude. Yeah. Everything Jack asked, the horse did.
It showed loads of gate speed. It drew 5 this week.
Yeah,
so it will need that gate speed.
Yes, that was the one thing that did when I looked at the card in terms of the draw, being drawn 5, not great draw. But you're right there, the gate speed might come into play. Difficult to know how the race will sort of pan out with the horses inside a little bit because you've got a couple of Colford horses in there. You've also got Always Sky, who I think was, yes, a 2-year-old last year, ran into the 2-year-old races, so dropping back into maiden company as well. Second line, then you've got horses like Gussie So Surreal, who has changed stable, is now with Emma Langford, making the trip up from Wales. Oakwood Hey Mickey, who was unraced at 2, comes out now as a 3-year-old. And I believe Alexis made reference to both Hey Mickey and Tricky Mickey in her selections in the BHRC calendar as horses to follow for this year. So connections there might be, looking to pick up an early win. We've got Regan's Roller, my old friend Regan's Roller, from the same stable actually as Dash for Cash. Notably, their trainer Jack Burton, he's taken the drive, despite the draw, taken the drive on Dash for Cash. His other horse in the race, driven by his brother Mac, is Regan's Roller, drawn 8. A horse that just kept hitting the crossbar last year.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when I tipped it.
That was a odds-on shot every week for you to tip that.
Yeah, and then there was that fateful day at Walsingham where you tipped it, and I wasn't going to tip it because I'd become disappointed and disillusioned with the horse, if I'm honest. Yeah. You tipped it. I then tipped it because I couldn't afford to lose points on you, and then you changed your tips without permission from the remainder of the group, and the horse that you tipped went on and won, and I think we held a lengthy stewards inquiry over that.
Yeah.
This is what I'm up against, ladies and gents. He's very, very sly with some of his tactics, let's say. So keep an eye on that during the remainder of the summer.
Sly with tactics.
Sly with tactics, you are indeed. I sounded like Yoda then. My words were coming out in the wrong order.
You take like the Constitution House and Frankos of the trotting world.
That's not. I couldn't be less sly with that tactic, Chico. That is me, literally. I told you, hands up. I am just being completely brazen about this. I am going to take the Constitution Hills. I've
Yeah,
got some secret horses I'm keeping an eye on, but I'm not going to expose them at this stage because sharing is not caring. All right. I don't want to
yeah.
land a gamble here. I'm kidding. I don't gamble. Gambling's
I
bad,
don't.
kid. Do it.
You shouldn't bet.
No, exactly. Just take drugs instead. I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't mean that. I don't mean that. That's one of those things that the disclaimer covers, by the way. Anyway, race two. So we've both selected Dash for Cash in race one. Race two, the first trot of the year. 4 horses facing a starter in this. We've got Birdie Match on the gate. Gamma de Chêne drawn 1 on 10 yards. It's the only horse on 10 yards, actually. Giant Piler, 50-yard trail. Emerald de Levant, 60-yard trail. I think
Yeah.
we've gone the same here as well, haven't we? Yeah.
Yes.
Have and
Gamma de
this is an interesting race. This is a very, very interesting race. Difficult to know with these horses at the start of the season where they're at with fitness levels and you know whether they need a couple of races to get into it. I've had to avoid Emerald de Levant off that trail. I've also had to avoid Giant Piler off that trail, which then left me with a selection between Birdie Match and Gamma de Chêne. And I'll be honest, I've gone with the mare Gamma de Chêne.
That's what my thoughts through like my thought process as well. The Gamma edition.
She was
We've
very, very.
we've got 10 minutes left.
I know it has just popped up on there, so we're probably going to have to stop this and start again, and I'm going to have to sandwich the two things together. It's a professional affair, ladies and gents. Yeah, Gamma de Chêne, ultra consistent. You know, if you look at her form for the back end of last year, she won at various tracks. She's a little hot to handle, off the track, but once she gets on, she's very, very professional.
She was very good at the back end of last season.
Yes,
Did
I
they not
just
have
I think
did they not have one of the Mayor's series possibly at the back end of the season? Like a Mayor's final or something?
I'm not sure. I can't remember what the conditions of the races were that she was winning, but I can remember she won it. Did she not win at Tier Prince last year as well? Earlier on in the season.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm sure she did. I'm sure earlier on in the season anyway than what her last kind of 5 runs show in the form guide. But Gamma de Chêne, the selection there for both of us. But I mean, it's an open enough race, so it could turn up
It,
a
it
result
wouldn't surprise me
towards.
if Giant Pile or Emirate de Levant came from that trail.
No, exactly. And Birdie Match, you can't discredit Birdie Match either, especially being on the gate. If Peter Mather decides to set a tempo that the back markers can't catch, anything could happen. So that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Race 3 is a ratings race. We've got 8 runners here, and again, we've taken the same selection here. I notice interestingly though, you've opted here against a horse in your 5 to follow. So for a
Yes.
few pearls more, drawn 6 here in this ratings race, you and I have both gone for Reed Superfly drawn 5.
Yeah. I wanted to be a bit crafty about this.
Oh,
I
sly.
put my tips in before we
Or
filmed
we
this.
did this. Yes.
And if I tipped for a few fellas more, I think that it's alarm bells off in your head.
In which case I'd have picked for a few pearls more first then to try and prevent you from picking it. Had I known that your approach to this was different to mine, and you tipped for a few pearls more earlier on today instead of Reed Superfly, then you would have you'd have alerted me to what you were going to do, and I probably still would have taken for a few pearls more first and then drifted into my Constitution Hills afterwards. So yeah, you win on that one, Chico. But we have both taken Reed Superfly here. Worked out nicely last week at York.
Yeah, he went really nice York last year.
And potentially when
last week.
you look at it tactically as well. I mean, I was kind of between Reed Superfly and for a few pearls more. I was looking at it tactically. Reed Superfly needs to come up in the handicap in the ratings to land into some of these handicap finals that are coming up through the course of the next few weeks, whether that's at Tregaron, you've got Appleby at the end of the month, that sort of thing. So I can see where the position of the horse is at the moment in the rating system. The connections are possibly looking for that win early doors to get eligible for those handicaps.
Yes.
If my understanding of the rating system is correct, which it might not be.
That's what
that's what you yeah. I think we're just process of elimination there as well. But keep an eye on for a few pearls more because that is a horse that both of us clearly, from early discussions here, she's caught our eye off the back of performances last year.
And there's also another horse in that race Go for Top Guy was really nice last year as well.
Yes. And Frisco Tex, another horse that was in a qualifier, I think he won his qualifier last weekend as well. So there's a couple there to keep an eye on, definitely. And it's interesting to note a couple of Welsh trainers coming up as well. Julian Price making the journey up from Mid Wales as well, with Kindwood Lucky Lady. Okay, race 4, the second of the trots. There's 7 runners in this. A couple of horses we've never seen before.
Yes.
Ixie. Grant Cullen's driving. Ixie Sautruli.
I'm not going to tell the lies here.
Yeah.
I followed my thought process. But I
Mhm.
keep telling you every year.
If it's got an English name, you're picking it.
Yeah.
I think I may have inadvertently done that. I couldn't remember if I and Sam ran in a workout last week or not because I didn't have the runners in front of me. Was he one of the horses that was there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he go
I'm
okay?
sure
Because I
it
picked
was.
him now.
I never seen that race, but I'm sure it was.
Right, okay. I mean, again, there was a couple here that I did know. Like I said, there's new horses here. Ixie, second part of name to be confirmed. The first time I hear Darren saying it in a commentary. We've also got Holtest de Boy, which is Darren Green, own and train Jack Burton drives, and Helios de Tithe. Don't know. I'm sorry if you speak French. I know if you're a French person watching this, I am sorry. Um, yeah, there's new faces there, and they could throw a spanner in the works. I and Sam as well, a new horse for us all to keep an eye on. And then you've got horses we've seen racing before. Yeah, Cambardador, John Wright, Hindi Fafa, and Dolce Vita Wood, who has changed stable. Was with Sam Howard last year. A couple of wins at Appleby. Horse that seems to really like Appleby actually.
Yeah.
Um,
This could be
now
a prep run for Appleby again.
it could be a prep run for Appleby. Rebecca Holmes owns and trains. Joseph Riley drives. So we've got there's a bit of a mixed bag in that race, but we've both opted for I and Sam. Next race 5, another ratings race. 7 runners here. This is where you and me have differed.
Yeah.
You've selected a horse here that you have in your 5 to follow. You've gone with Far Out.
Yeah. I thought I seen it when it won at Amma Valley last year,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really impressive the day I was down there.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was impressive last week in its qualifier.
Yes, I can fully understand why you've chosen her as well. Is this a stable change this season, isn't it?
Yes, it was sold last year.
Goal back end of last year.
Yeah.
See, first start for the Ladlers now and racing at York as well. That horse is likely to go well. I have personally in this race gone with Archie Camden. I thought he worked really nicely last week. He was in a qualifier, he finished second. Oh no, I don't think he was second. He was maybe third behind Smuggler's Cove and Yerkes Hanover.
Yeah.
He went nicely. He left the gate nicely. He travelled nicely through it. He's a horse that's grown into himself a little bit more. He's 4 years old now. He's got a big frame, the horse. But he's a horse that I've kept an eye on for a little while. Really like him. So I've gone with Archie Camden there. You've taken Far
Yeah.
Out. So that is where you and me differ, and the only time we differ.
Yeah, actually Camden went 2-4.4 last week.
Yeah, I just thought he travelled very nicely through the qualifier. So I am going to take you on. You have got the benefit of the inside draw of the 2 horses. You're in 2, I'm in 4, but I am taking you on with Archie Camden in that race for a bit of fun. The third trot is 7 runners. All of these trots on Saturday over 1.25 miles, incidentally. We've both selected the same horse here, a new face in amongst the French trotter ranks, but went very, very nicely last week in a workout.
Yeah, it was like I think it was the fastest trotter there last week.
Yes, Craig mentioned it in his commentary as well. Phil Arnott owns, trains, and drives. Phil Rouge.
Phil Rouge.
Phil Rouge.
I thought it was Phil Rogue.
It's not Phil Rogue. Rogue is Rogue. Rouge. It's French for red.
I'm dyslexic.
Oh, here we go. That old chestnut again.
I'm just going to call it Phil Rogue all year.
Phil Rogue. Well, you probably would call it Phil Rogue. It's highly likely that Craig was calling it Phil Rogue last week as well, because some of his pronunciations of even paces were questionable. Phil Rouge, we've selected there, both of us. First start in Britain. Obviously, we did have the benefit of seeing the horse in the qualifier / workout last week. Very, very impressive. Some other new faces. We have Eldorado France. I'm surprised you didn't go with Eldorado France with a name like that. You can pronounce that one.
Yeah. I can also pronounce Europe.
Europe, exactly. We've also got Dorenzo de Hulbe, who's changed hands as well. That was previously with Phil Arnott and his son Leo. Now he's with Rebecca Holmes. Elena de Moulin from the Foodie stable. Kaziki de Rib from Mike Evans' stable, who was a winner on the last day of the season at York last year. And old favourite, Amadeo de Gelmar, big chestnut.
Yeah.
We've got some old timers, some familiar faces, and some of the new ones as well. Those first two horses on the gate, drawn 1 and 2, Phil Rouge and Eldorado France. Interesting race, that one. The longest trail there being 10 yards, drawn 4. So they are all grouped together for that race as well. So we'll see how that one pans out. But we are both going to stick with Phil Arnott and Phil Rouge. Drawn 1 on the gate. Send it, Phil. Now, race 7 is the highest rated horses. There are 9 on the card. We both went the same way here again.
Yeah, I came back after a year off last year.
Yerkes Hanover.
Requalified nice last week.
Yes, we did make reference to him when I was saying about my selection of Archie Camden taking you on with Far Out. I did mention that he was in a qualifier with Yerkes Hanover, who finished very, very nicely, I felt, in that qualifier. Very, very strong finish right through the line, which is something I think as a 2-year-old he was quite well known for. He had quite a lot of stamina, despite he's not massive in size, but as a 2-year-old he was very impressive. Had that year off, back now. He's our selection. He's both of our selection in that race, but we will run through some of the other runners in the race to note. Anivi had a good season last year before she picked up an injury.
Yeah,
she was a winner at Cannock.
Yeah,
and she was also second to Merrington moving up at Cannock as well, same day. She put in 2 monster performances.
Really well,
she had a good season before that as well, and she was being trained by the Rileys. So Anivi comes back again this year off the back of an injury at the back end of last year, midway through last year, but she comes back and is an interesting one to keep an eye on. I think a lot of her. Stamphill George had a fairly good season last year. He won a final, I think, at Hallfield last year, one night when I was taking photos.
Yeah, he did. He won a heating final there.
Yeah. Other horses to note as well. Blythe Rogue, Jason
Have you
Podmore.
noticed that Rockers, young Rockers on Stamphill George?
That did. When I was looking through this, I noticed that I went with the driver selection here more than anything, I think. The fact that the ladies had 2 in the race and Rocker's taken Yerkes Hanover, that's the one I've gone for.
They're possibly second driver. Has it been something just now?
I see how he shoehorned it in here. Yes, William Layla Jr. takes the drive there on the other horse in the race from that stable. As Chico has mentioned, the normal second driver for the Layla stable is, as everybody should know by now, Mr. William Greenhorn. And as we are filming this, it is Thursday. Obviously, this is going to go out. It's Friday night by the time you people are watching this. You people, I mean, you guys. Sound so aggressive towards you all. It's Friday night now, and you're watching this, everybody. So just bear with us on this slightly. But as of right now, Thursday, 7 p.m. It's been the same all day for him, but it is William Greenhorn's birthday.
The big 5-0.
The big 5-0. Hard to believe, isn't it? He doesn't look 50.
No.
Do you want to say that with a bit more conviction? Because you don't sound convinced.
No, it's true.
He doesn't look 50. I call him Benjamin Button. I've been calling him Benjamin Button for some years. If you don't know who Benjamin Button is, I don't think he was a real character, but he might have been. He's certainly a fictional character, at least. The story of Benjamin Button was that he was a person, don't know whether to say boy or man, who aged backwards. And that is basically what's happening with William Greenhorn. He doesn't age. I don't think it's just me that thinks this, because I posted on Facebook earlier for his birthday, and a few people have said you don't look 50, so I don't feel like it is just me. But William Greenhorn, happy birthday, happy big 50th. Currently out in, where are they, Tenerife?
Tenerife? I don't know.
I don't know, they're somewhere in the sun. Anyway, there's a group of them over there, friends and family, the Greenhorns, and they are celebrating Will's 50th. I don't know when he's back, but he has commented on the post that I put on saying that he is still hungry for winners. So we shouldn't be expecting him to wind down now that he's into the sort of latter part of his career. I do like to wind him up about being an old man and these young drivers coming through, but Will's still got it.
Yeah.
Going back to the race, though, we've both selected Yerkes Hanover. Is there anything else? What do you think is? Do you strongly fancy Yerkes Hanover, or did you find this a difficult race to select one for?
I thought this was a difficult race to select for.
Me too. I'll be honest. There's a couple of horses in here. Bearing in mind, this is the first start of the season for these horses. You can't quite gauge where some of them are.
No, the I picked it because I seen it in the qualifier last week.
I mean,
Basically,
it's
that's
basically why I had to go with it. She Be Sporty did run in a qualifier last week, but it was for one of Ollie O'Mara's driving tests.
yeah,
So it's difficult to gauge because obviously you've now got a driver change back to Vicky, his mum, this week. So you can't. It's not so much like for like. Doing his driving tests as a young lad like that, as a teenager, is driving it different. He's got a lot more to be thinking about in terms of the things that Jason, as the starter and one of the stewards, has kind of explained to him beforehand. And it's different in a race condition as well, like that Vicky will be driving in different. So difficult to draw that comparison for She Be Sporty. Some fantasy racing there for the foodies. Grant takes the drive there. We've mentioned a few of them. Blue La Vida Loca, another horse there. Mark Eltringham had a couple of wins last year, I think.
yeah.
And
It's
Blytheview Rogue. Blytheview Rogue is the horse of Jason and Cheryl Podmore's that picked up a lot of wins last season. Was shortlisted for Grass Track Champion as well because a lot of those wins came on grass. And also finished fairly high up, I believe, in the Equine Products Leading Horse Competition, sponsored by Marcia Thompson from Equine Products, which I should drop that in right now. That is being run again this year, same conditions. Every race on British soil is included, point system of 10, 5, and 2 for first, second, and third. And the horse at the end of the season with the most points wins a prize. The highest placed horse of the opposite gate also wins a prize, and the highest placed mare wins a prize. There could be one horse that wins two prizes there, because if the highest placed horse is a trotting mare, for example, they'll win two lots of prizes, and then the highest placed pacer will win a prize. It works all the way around if it's pacing mare, etc. In particular, like last year, it happened to be three separate horses. Giant Pilo won leading trotter, or leading horse of the opposite gate to the winner. Mountain Moving Up was the overall points winner, and Air Rhythm was the highest placed mare. So that competition is again in 2023. So points mean prizes. And thank you to Marcia Thompson and Equine Products for supporting that, and also for supporting the Stagley British Championships, as Equine Products are sponsoring again this year for the third year in a row. And that is the card for Saturday.
Yes.
Do we know who's commentating?
No.
No. I forgot to ask Darren. He didn't mention that it was him. It may be him. It may be Darren, but equally it may not be Darren. So that's breaking news there from Sarah and Chico. We are going to be celebrating the King's coronation at York. We have preparations are underway to decorate. I think the decorations may only reach as far as the track photographer's office. That's my office, by the way.
We've got
Tea room. We've got cakes. I'm making cucumber sandwiches, and I'm going to get some coronation chicken because I feel like that's appropriate. I have been sent a photo tonight of some crisps. I don't know, did you see that picture as well?
King prawn cocktail.
King prawn cocktail, yeah. Coronation crisps.
I think I'll get coronation chicken crisps tomorrow.
Yeah, you're going to get some of those special coronation crisps, coronation chicken crisps, I should say. I think we've got bunting. Yeah. There was a lot of Union Jack stuff. I got sent some photos of some Union Jack stuff, and I didn't look specifically at what it was. I think there's bunting. I don't know if there's. Are they bowls and plates?
Yeah, there's plates. There's cups.
Should I be getting crowns? I haven't got crowns, but I also feel like that might be treason. We're not crowning each other. We're crowning King Charles.
And possibly there could be a cardboard cutout.
And possibly there could be a 6-foot cardboard cutout of King Charles. And if there is,
which would be good, like for the winners to get the photos took with King Charles.
I did raise this topic of conversation with somebody, and their response was, "Yeah, but what are you going to do if the horse is shy at it?" And I did think, well, that is possibly a health and safety thing. But I would like to get a picture of King Charles next to my very own King Charles. That's you, Chico, just in case you're not getting the reference. I'm going to refer to you as King Charles for the remainder of King Charles's reign. And upon his death, when his son takes over, you will revert back to Chico. And on that note, King Charles, I think we can wrap this up.
Yeah, are you coming to Caulfield the following week?
I don't think I will be, no. So I need to arrange photography cover. I was in contact with Laura McGregor earlier on about whether they needed a photographer or not for the qualifiers, but I will liaise with the SHRC on that. In the meantime, is there racing on at Ammon Valley this weekend?
Qualifiers again
Qualifiers. That's on
Sunday.
Sunday. There's qualifiers at Ammon Valley on Sunday. And remember, York on Saturday. Qualifiers start at 12 p.m. prompt, and first race is scheduled for 2 p.m. Haven't checked the weather forecast. Don't know what it'll be like. But if you haven't got anything on, then come racing. First meeting of the season. Let's make it a good one. Let's come back with a bang. And on that note, Chico, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
There we go. Over and out, ladies and gents. Enjoy the remainder of your Friday night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at York.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.